Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Real excited to have our next guest here. She's making a lot of news. And just want to let her know the Artie Lange Show is completely on her side. And, of course, she's here with one of our best friends, the great Mandy Stadtmiller. Here's Belle Knox. What's up, Belle? How you doing?
Hey.
How are you?
Good to be on here.
Yeah, so look, before we start, I want you to know I could not be more supportive of your situation. I think it's silly. And if someone's not supportive, I think they're stupid. So that being said, yeah, I mean, I'm really on your side here.
Thank you.
I mean, you're doing something legal to put yourself through a major university. That's a great university. It's like an Ivy League type place. And people are just uptight about that. It makes me sick that people still are uptight about that. I'm more offended by the people just live off their parents and just, don't work while they're in college.
Right. I mean,
it's easier to do that. So, I mean, describe... you describe exactly your situation and how you came to this point where you're doing porn, you get into Duke. Describe your life up till now.
Well, I got into Duke and I wasn't given a lot of financial aid.
Not an easy thing to do, getting into Duke, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you can shoot a 3-pointer, or do a 360 dunk. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Duke students are very passionate people. But
right.
So I got into Duke, and I wasn't given a very good financial aid package, but I just really loved the school, so I decided to go there. And it was in November, so I think that was my third month there when my parents, basically told me that I needed to start. I would need to take out loans.
Okay.
Because our bill was about $4,300 a month. And
wow.
I can't think of very many families who can afford that kind of bill.
I mean, the average salary in the country is, I think, $48,000 a year.
And
yeah.
Duke tuition is $60,000.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take out loans because I had seen other people, in my life struggle.
You start out in life down on the scoreboard. I mean, you get out, you're in debt, and now what do?
I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
I should not, and I do not want to be saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt.
Nobody does, right?
And and so I was looking for other alternatives to pay for college, and I was kind of looking around, and I knew that any minimum wage job I got, there's no way I could pay.
Forget it. It's a joke. Yeah.
If I even got a job, that is.
Because you also got to do well at Duke.
Right, exactly.
That's the other part of it. You got to do well. I mean, that's not easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Working and going to school is really hard.
Right.
And so I was kind of looking on Craigslist, kind of looking around. I had known that sex work paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was very lucrative. So I just kind of, said, screw it, And very half-heartedly, I typed in how to be a porn star on Google, and I sent in my information to a bunch of agencies. And then within days, I was getting contacted.
Right. Well, you're very attractive. That helps, too.
Thank you.
And you're young, and that helps, too. And it's what you're doing is completely legal. So, why put myself through the hell of being in debt in life when I could do something like this? But what had anything in your past indicated that, you could do this type of work with? I mean, you need to have a certain sort of psychological makeup. You got to be strong, I think, psychologically to go into this. Did you have any signs in your life that you could do porn?
Well, it's weird, I've always kind of had this fascination with sex work. I remember watching porn or kind of seeing strippers being depicted on, TV or whatever and thinking, wow, they look really empowered. I kind of want that.
Right. The direct opposite is true. Well, certain situations, obviously, it's not. But when you're a stripper, you have the power.
Oh, totally.
Believe me, one of us is leaving an empty pocket, and it ain't the stripper.
You're making you're making $100 for a 5-minute dance.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Where else can you make that kind of money?
Not a lot of places. No.
Right. So, and I was also very sexual as a teenager.
So you weren't uptight about sex, because and just in general.
I wasn't uptight about sex, in private, but in public, around my family and around other people, I kind of muted myself.
Well, that's natural, I think.
So it was kind of a...
Well, that's the societal expectation, right?
Right. Yeah. It's what's the word? It's always the quiet ones who are the closet freaks. Totally, yeah.
So that was you in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I was a total nerd in high school. I mean, I was kind of the girl that the guys didn't really, look at.
Well, that's changed.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I did debate. I wasn't an athlete.
So you're also obviously a bright person too. Duke, debate, all this stuff, but I mean, and like an intelligent person would think, hey, listen, here's a way to make a lot of money, and I know I'm not uptight about this. I have this information, so let me try to do this. You know?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw some alternatives, and I picked what, in my opinion, was the best alternative.
Which was what? What? How did you get into it? What was the first sort of thing you did? For money?
Well, the first thing was, you know, flying out to Los Angeles, which I did after doing a lot of research, which for anybody who's considering entering into sex work, they should do their fair amount of research. Definitely.
I mean, everything you're saying is right. It's just funny to hear somebody that organized with it.
Well, I mean, totally.
They should be, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Duke student's approach to sex work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally researched, you know, the agency, and I arrived at I arrived in Los Angeles, and you know, I was kind of scoping out, you know, the scene.
Right.
I had all of my misconceptions about, you know, porn in the industry and the women in the industry, and it was just completely shattered, you know, once I got there.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a totally good way.
When you got off the plane in L.A., did you have a bunch of appointments that you had made through the internet, or you just were going to cold call places?
Well, my agent.
You got an agent first.
Yeah, I had an agent, and
Right.
he had booked me for a bunch of shoots. But first, I needed to get tested for diseases.
Right.
And so, you know, we did that, and then we went to, you know, the model house, where it's very common for agencies to have houses where the girls stay, and I think that the image I had of a girl who does porn is of, you know, stereotypical, you know, kind of the bimbo, you know, the big
Drug addict
boobs,
maybe too, like, you
the
know,
dumb,
yeah,
the blonde. So I was
stupid, right.
expecting that, and I arrived, and they were all like these very intelligent, down to earth women
Right.
who I could have like very intelligent conversations with.
Well, you know, it's funny. I was on the Howard Stern show for 8.5 years, and I met a lot of these girls, and I was saying I had the same attitude going in before I met them through the show. And I'm talking to some of these women, and I'm like, they could be the CEO of a major company. You know,
Oh, yeah, totally.
They're really bright people, and they just know, hey, look, this is a way to make money, and I'm going to go about it the right way.
I've met so many people in porn who they have college degrees, and they were working, you know, the 9-to-5 job, and
Right.
they wanted to do something that made, you know, more money, and they could set their own schedule, and it was simple as that.
So you're a Duke student. You go, and now you start working in the adult industry, right?
Right.
Now, when does it start becoming an issue? Somebody finds out. When does it start becoming a problem for you?
I was outed right after Christmas break, so it was around January 10th, I
By who?
believe. By a friend of mine.
Girl?
It was a guy,
A guy,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
How long had you been doing porn? I mean, since the beginning of this, since November, and
Since
you were
November.
outed in
I was outed
December.
in January.
Oh,
yeah.
So
January.
you just had a couple of months.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
a quick turnaround.
Was it a situation where maybe he was kind of jealous? Was he romantically into you and sort of did it as revenge? Or,
Well, it was.
like,
A
what was his motive
situation.
for that?
I think that part of it was, you know, I'm friends with a porn star. You know, how cool am I? It was during, you know,
Really?
it was during rush week at Duke, and it was, you know, he wanted to impress his frat.
Guess who's a porn star? Type
Yeah,
thing.
we were
Right.
on our way to a party, and he at a frat, and he was mad at me, and he told
Ugh.
everybody at the party, you know,
Yeah.
and you know how everybody at college and anywhere talks if they hear something juicy.
Oh, forget it. I mean, they talk if they heard you made out with somebody.
Oh, totally.
You know,
Totally.
so what happened? Does it just blow up immediately?
Well, the next day, I was getting all these friend requests from different guys.
Right.
On
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook, and at first I was
That
like,
makes total sense.
I was flattered. I was like, you know, maybe I'm like popular. Like maybe guys like
It was
like
good
me.
publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I do something embarrassing last night? Like what happened? And then so I started like asking the guys like, why did you add me? And they said, oh, I met you at a party, you know.
Oh, okay.
But then it wasn't until somebody from my class actually followed my alter ego, Belle Knox, on
Okay.
Twitter
Right.
that I knew that I had been found out. And
So Belle Knox, obviously a fake name.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
well, Belle is for Belle from Beauty and the
yeah.
Beast, and also
That's great. Go ahead.
yeah, I think it's a very cute name.
I
Very
like it a
sweet.
lot. I'm with you.
And then Knox is from Amanda Knox.
Oh, okay.
I kind of have like a fascination with
There's
her
an edgy
case.
name.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have like a fascination with her case. I think she's a very interesting person.
Do you think she's guilty?
More or less, so
Okay.
yes. I think there's more to the story than what she's saying.
So you're going with a beautiful Disney character and a murder suspect.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a fantastic thing.
it's like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's so. I mean, so now Belle Knox, they find out about this, and now what happens? Does your life get better first, or does it become a bad thing first?
Well, it just really, after he told everybody, it really just snowballed, and every day more people were learning, and more people were learning, and I was getting glares and the whispers, whenever
Threats and stuff like that, where people really. I mean, you talk about the Bible Belt too. I mean,
the threats didn't come until later, but what really started happening was after it had kind of settled around school. An anonymous kind of blog was started about me on a popular frat gossip website.
right.
And it said a lot of very disparaging comments about my sexuality, about speculating about my hookups, and it said my full name.
People are so nasty.
People are
man.
vicious.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
vicious, and so that's when it really got out of control for me.
Now, did you? I'm glad you hooked up with Mandy, because Mandy, I've known her a long time. She's got a lot of. She has a lot of integrity. I think she would be someone. How do you hook up with Mandy? What happened, Mandy? How do you find?
I
that? You reach out
to
for
her.
her.
Yeah. She had written something in response to the Duke Chronicle profile of her,
Which was
where-
bad.
Right. So the Duke Chronicle had. After I was getting bullied on campus, I decided,
So all this happens. Bullying starts happening.
So
Your
I
life's
was
getting bad.
bullied, and my life was just, it was like every day was just like a living hell for me. And I started getting contacted by these like random little news publications who were telling me, we're gonna out you, and it'd be really cool if you like cooperated with us.
Wow.
So I had a friend who worked at the Chronicle, and I said, I want to get my story out there before somebody else does.
Get out in front of this and
Yeah,
Right.
and the article ended up being very condescending, and it really kind of portrayed me in a bad light. And so I still felt that my image was not being portrayed as it should, and it went viral. And then Mandy noticed it.
Yeah, present company
Yeah.
aside, print stuff can really screw you over.
Yeah, a journalist
It
can
can
really
disappoint.
screw you
Oh,
over.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
They like pretend to be your friend, and then
Oh,
they
believe me. You're preaching to the choir.
psychoanalyze you. Totally, they're like little psychoanalysts.
you and Artie should commiserate.
Listen, I'm not going to pretend to have had what you've gone through, but I've had similar things, absolutely, where they pretend to be your friend, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to name any, magazines. Rolling Stone.
I was just gonna say,
But like someone who was like such an uptight girl who just clearly hated me before the article
Right.
was, supposed to do an article. I mean, and she thought the week that we had was torture. I said, I wish you would. I known you were going to write this. I would have really made your life hell for a week.
Yeah.
That was scratching the surface. So now what is that? How you see that in response to that?
yeah. Well, so I reached out to her, and I kind of did my seductive journalistic pitch.
Right. And at this point, do you trust Mandy because you've been burned? And
No,
you're like,
I was really like kind of
Really?
Well, I was skeptical.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
I was skeptical of everybody, but when
Yeah.
it wasn't until Mandy told me that she wanted me to write it in my own words, and she would not
Publish anything without
That's
you
she
seeing
right.
it.
wouldn't publish anything without my
Right.
consent, that I was like, wow, I really want to work with it.
So she let you write what
Yeah, and I mean, Exo Jane, where it was published, it was a very reputable,
Sure, it's a big
type of
time.
publication. Yeah. So I thought that it would be the perfect place to tell my story.
And they didn't lie to you. They did what they said they would.
Yeah.
And so now since that happened, how did your life get better?
Well,
Or did it? I mean, is it taking its time or?
I've had my moments where it's been really, really difficult dealing with the backlash from, everybody and all the bullying. But it's gotten better in that ever since that article was published, I've started a dialogue about sex worker rights, and I've gotten a lot of support, and a lot of articles have been written, about the very issues I'm talking about.
So you might not just help yourself, you might help a lot of other people in the same situation, kind of.
Yes.
Which is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think what I'm doing is I'm showing people that I'm shattering the stereotype of the dumb, uneducated, porn star bimbo, and I'm
Right.
replacing it with an educated woman who is choosing to do sex work
Right.
and who is autonomous and And I think that that's what is scaring people. But
Who's a student at Duke? I mean, quite frankly,
Yeah.
just that statement alone. Has the university done anything in a negative light towards you? Threatened to expel you or anything like that? Or-
no, they've been very supportive.
Oh, they have.
towards me.
That's
Yes.
good. Well, that's good to hear. That's great, actually.
Yes, I'm not breaking any rules.
Right.
There are actually petitions circulating around the campus to get me expelled.
Oh, well,
from
F
Duke.
them. I mean, man, God, to get a life.
Because apparently I
Get a
embarrassed
life. You're not
Duke,
doing
yeah.
anything illegal. You're putting yourself through. It's actually the most American story
Thank
there is.
you.
That's what I mean. You know, it's
Thank
like
you.
well, but you look, you're going through this now. Like you got all this attention. If it wasn't for Mick Jagger's situation, you might be on the cover of a couple of these papers today.
She was you were on the cover of the news one
Yeah,
day.
I
Oh,
was
okay,
on
yeah,
the
that's
cover.
right. And now you're on
Yeah.
the second page, I think, of the Post or something.
Yeah.
So this is all happening. It's exciting. We got to take a break, but I want to ask you about, when this settles down, how do you feel? Like you got to live your life, your day-to-day life of the work and going to school, and are you prepared for what's coming up? Because I mean, thank God you seem strong and you're taking on this fight, but I want to see how you feel it's going to go when this is done, when the attention's gone. You got to live your life.
The attention is never going away.
Good. That's good news.
right.
Let's take a break. I'll come right back. I just think about it for a little bit. We'll be right back with more of Belle Knox. Now that I know what that name is, I love it. Belle Knox. Back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.